Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining BJA's Forensic Genetic Genealogy Performance Measure training. My name is Laura Ariola. I am one of the deputies on our Planning, Performance, and Impact team here at BJA. I am joined by a few teammates, Nicole Norvesh and Jimmy Stahey, and we are also joined by Andrea Borchardt from the BJA's Forensic Unit to help answer questions. Our agenda today, we will start with a brief purpose and benefit of performance measures at BJA. Then we will get into the Forensic Genetic Genealogy, or FGG, overview. We will dive into the FGG questionnaire, talk about the FGG semi-annual spreadsheet, capture case level information. We will also cover some resources to help with your general reporting requirements during the reporting period. We'll also include a few slides with help desk contact information for both PMT and JUST grants. And we'll allow time at the end to go over the questions. And then, as I previously mentioned, if we don't get to your questions during today's call, we will follow up with an email. So, performance management. Performance management is the process by which grantees regularly collect data, measurements, on their grant activities to determine whether they are implementing activities as intended and achieving their desired goals and objectives. Performance measures or questionnaires to capture outcomes over time, which enables pre and post comparisons that can be used to assess change as your program changes. Establish performance measures for each grant program. These measures can be found at the link shown here. And to kind of enter those in the chat box as we go. Your questionnaire for the performance measures was also included in the original solicitation that you responded to. I also see a question here. We will be sending out the PowerPoint later, so all of the links that are in this PowerPoint you will get a copy of as well. Measurement. Performance measurement ensures strong program development. Through regular program evaluation, it provides the accountability necessary for growth, showing the raw outputs of your program's data. For BJA, performance measures help to look at your program holistically, as well as at the local level, to identify areas of success and potential opportunities for improvement. This also allows BJA to target training and technical assistance resources where they are needed the most. Measures also helps the Department of Justice comply with the reporting requirements of federal law. Data also has tremendous benefit to grantees. They help you proactively address challenges and generate evidence that you are meeting your goals. Measures can also lead to sustainability and continued resource advocacy for your program by being able to demonstrate the overall impact of your program and organization. So, forensic genetic genealogy and related. Forensic genetic genealogy, or FGG, is a way to use grant funds in a unique way to get investigative leads in cases that have not had CODIS hits. It combines DNA analysis with genealogy searching to make familial connections to profiles found in crime scene evidence. Utilize funds for FGG must abide by the United States Department of Justice interim policy. I have a link to that policy here in the deck, which we will send out. Grant funds for FGG must be a part of your approved programmatic activities. Not all programs can use funds for FGG. If you're unsure if your funds can be used for FGG, please contact your BJA program manager. Program special conditions, no DNA data may be uploaded to non-governmental databases like GEDmatch with written approval from BJA. Standalone program, the measures we're going to talk about here are in addition to the measures that you have already been reporting as part of your program. Reporting on FGG measures will begin in our current July reporting period. List of the programs that FGG performance metrics have been developed for and will report if funds were used for FGG as a part of their approved programmatic activities. I have all of the programs, but some of them include the Sexual Assault Kit Initiative, the Memorial Justice Assistance Grant Program, and also wrongful conviction. Snapshot of what the questions will look like as part of the reporting when funds are used for FGG. Next, we'll dive into the questionnaire and also talk about the spreadsheet that is required for case level information. If funds are used for FGG, you must abide by the US DOJ interim policy. It's collecting and reporting specific information. Those metrics that are going to be reported on are listed below, as we'll take a deeper dive. The questions on the Forensic Genetic Genealogical Questionnaire, which is prepared every reporting period. The question is going to ask if grant funds were used for FGG or FGG analysis. If the answer to this question is no, we'll have no further questions for the questionnaire. However, if you do answer yes, that grant funds were used, then you'll be required to go through the rest of the questionnaire. The second question is going to ask about the amount of funding. In the quarterly questionnaire submitted into PMT or Just Grants, reporting on the total amount of funds used for FGG. In the semi-annual spreadsheet, that will be more detailed, where you will submit funds used on a case-by-case basis. It will ask about the type of sample, reference or forensic, and how many of each type of sample underwent FGG analysis. Descriptions of the samples will also be reported upon. The total amount of each sample will be reported in the quarterly questionnaire. What of each sample case will be reported in the semi-annual spreadsheet. Tables include information on the total amount, sample, condition of the sample, for example, its degradation status, and concentration of the DNA in the sample. For question number 4, regarding if the FGG analysis resulted in a searchable profile. Report on if the sample underwent FGG analysis, did it result in a profile that can be searched in a genetic genealogy database? If searchable genetic genealogy service that was performed. Next, question 5 is regarding the type of crime. So, utilizing funds for FGG, report on the type of crime being investigated. Cases being investigated have to meet certain criteria in order for grant funds to be used for FGG. So please see section 5 of the DOJ interim policy for this criteria and make sure your case is eligible for FGG funds. I'm going to ask if the investigation resulted in an arrest based in part on the FGG analysis performed. If analysis and searching led to an investigative lead or information that led to an arrest in the case, we would report that information. Number 7 would be to report the vendor laboratory used to perform the FGG and search. Earlier about a semi-annual spreadsheet that gets submitted. This is a screenshot of that spreadsheet. The spreadsheet is required to be submitted into Just Grants on a semi-annual basis. So this would be in the July and January reporting periods. And it is in addition to the online questionnaire. We just ran through the questionnaire. The spreadsheet is going to collect the same information as the online questionnaire. However, it's collecting it at a more detailed case level information is what will be captured on the spreadsheet. Details about the cases that FGG funds were used on rather than the aggregated view of the online questionnaire. You will record a unique case identifier for each case that used grant funds, the year the funds were used, what vendor laboratory was used, and the type of sample that underwent FGG analysis for reference. Sheet also has a place to report a description of the sample or samples, the type of crime, if a searchable profile was obtained, the genetic genealogy service used to search the profile, and whether the case resulted in an arrest that was based in part on the use of FGG. So all very similar to what we just discussed with the questionnaire. Again, this will just be at a case level information. Okay, transitioning out of the FGG specifics a little bit, going back to some more general reporting guidelines, where we report. The graphic we have on this slide is also available on the BJA Performance Measures webpage. This will serve as a reminder as to which programs should complete their performance measures reporting in the Just Grant system and which programs are still reporting using the performance measurement tool or the PMT. These who are still using the PMT system, this is also a friendly reminder to download a PDF copy of your Just Grants report from the PMT and upload it into the Just Grants system during this July reporting period. The Bureau of Justice Assistance Performance Measures webpage and YouTube channel, which can be accessed via the webpage, contain resources where grantees complete their reporting in the PMT or Just Grants. These two websites provide access to training videos, tip sheets, data collection, best practices, and July 2021 reporting guidance, and more. The Performance Measures webpage was recently updated to hopefully make it easier for you to navigate and find resources. If you have not checked it out recently, we encourage you to do so. If you have any questions related to Just Grants reporting or entering your data into Just Grants, you can contact the Just Grants team. Ask using email justgrants.support@usdoj.gov. You can also reach out to them via phone at the number provided on the screen. Grants also has their own website, justicegrants.usdoj.gov. Our Emt Help Desk is also available to assist with several questions about the use of the PMT and your account, such as adding a user to your PMT account or account creation, unlocking reports or data entry questions, or any other system issues. Please reach out to the PMT Help Desk at bjapmt@ojp.usdoj.gov.